If you're joining along on the challenge, we are 2 months into our no-buy year, and now is not the time to give up. In this video, I'm going to give you a couple of tips and reflections on how to recommit to your no-buy or low-buy year, and a bit of it is gonna be some tough love. Okay, first, take a deep breath. I know that doing a no-buy year or doing a low-buy year is really hard. In a recent video, I talked about how we really don't want to be doing it from a place of deprivation or self-hatred in any way. We want to remind ourselves that we are not doing this from a place of lacking. We want to remind ourselves that we are doing this in a way of providing for our future selves, setting ourselves up for success. Again, I know I'm a broken record when I say this, but we need to just constantly remind ourselves of our why. And I feel like that is really the shining light of how you make this challenge successful. I will just give you an example and share my why and like the kind of reasonings and ways that I align all of my rules and thought processes in this challenge. So my why is that I want to live on a homestead in New Zealand. That's what I'm doing everything for. I'm doing all of this because I want that life. My goals specifically for this no-buy year were to pay off my credit card debt and aggressively save towards that goal, while also not buying things. I didn't want to continue to clutter my house up with more stuff because I am mainly coming at this from the perspective of, okay, I'm going to be making an international move in the next 4 years, and I don't want to continue to inundate myself with stuff that I'm just going to have to sort through, figure out how to donate, get rid of, move, whatever. I'm coming at this from a minimalist's perspective, someone that wants to pay off their credit card debt and aggressively save. I'm not coming at this from a budgeting perspective explicitly. I'm not coming at this from a place of financial burden or hardship, and I know some of you are, and that's totally fine, but your why and your rules and your guiding light is going to be a little bit different than mine. I'm just sharing why I'm doing what I'm doing and how that all lines up. So for me, I am doing a no buy of things, although I still want to have experiences, though I do want to be mindful of when and how I spend money on those experiences, because obviously I still want to have a life or whatever, and I do live very far away from all of my family members, so going on trips to see my friends and family is something that is very important to me, and it always has and always will be. I will always make room in my budget to do those things, and that's not going to stop during a no-buy year. But I do want to stop my need to purchase things. I want to feel satisfied with the things that I have, and satisfying that need to purchase will set me up for future success, because I won't be flitting my money away on things that don't matter, things that are just going to make it harder for me to move, things that are not going to add any value to my life long term, but are going to drain away my savings and my money for my future goal, my why, New Zealand. I want to be more grateful for what I own and have a simpler life, and I feel like all of those things go together, and that's my personal guiding light. So again, if you haven't really taken the time to think about why you're doing all of this, that is the thing that will guide you the whole way through. Everything, if I ever have a question, I can lead it back to, why am I doing this? I'm doing this for New Zealand. I'm doing this for my homestead. I don't need this. Or why am I doing this? I'm doing it for this. I'm doing it for that. I can make an exception for this. It's sort of like you have to make your own rules and you have to hold yourself accountable, and that can be really hard sometimes. I urge you to write this down, reflect on it, put it in a voice note, draw a picture about it, post it on your fridge, write something down, put it as your home screen on your phone, anywhere that you can see that will remind you of your goal. Like, make a vision board about it and post it somewhere that you're gonna see it all the time. Having a higher purpose or like a bigger reason to do something is going to really just help you move forward. So now that we have reminded ourselves of our why, again, always remind yourself of your why. You have to also think about the emotional aspect of this and think about the things that could be triggering you. For example, are you having trouble with scarcity mindset? Examples of this include feeling panicked if you don't buy something on sale, stock up at the supermarket, or you want to throw your rules out the window when you see something that is part of a limited line or a limited time only, or act fast, the sale's going, blah, blah, blah. This is the way that marketing and capitalism really get at you to feel like you need to buy something, because if you don't buy it now, it's never going to be available again, or it's never going to be again at this low price, or whatever. You need to remind yourself that like those things are never going to be gone forever. You're always going to be able to find them. You're always going to be able to find some version of them. There's a chance you might be able to find a free version of it if you ask around. So try not to let in to those feelings, because it is literally marketers using psychology to manipulate you. Another question about triggers and such. Do certain stores or items trigger you to want to buy things? What are those things? Think about them, write them down, avoid them, or have an accountability buddy when you go into those stores or see those items. Another question to ask is, do you feel the urge to buy when you're feeling sad or overwhelmed? Do you feel the urge to buy to soothe that? Do you look to buying things when you are faced with an inconvenience in your life to solve a problem? Do you sometimes want to buy things because you desire care or comfort? Sometimes we want to buy things to outsource our care to someone else, and that is totally valid, because it's really hard to provide for yourself, especially now with a cost of living crisis and, you know, the fact that Western societies are so averse to community. This is what we need now, is community. We need to lean on each other for support. In general, out of all of those things, if any of them feel like they ring true to you, we just need to, unfortunately, lean into those feelings of discomfort and remind ourselves that everything is going to be okay. Whatever the thing is that you think you need, sometimes you do really need it, but most of the time you don't. And it's just a little gremlin in your head telling you that you need to buy this thing, when if you really, really need it, there is probably another way to go about getting the item for free from a friend, from a family member, from a thrift store, from a secondhand shop, from a buy nothing group. There are different ways that you can achieve the same end goal, and if you really think about your why, you'll be able to find a way. Take a second to think in those moments, what's the worst thing that could happen if I don't buy this thing? You'll be disappointed for a couple of days, you'll maybe fixate on the item for a couple of days. You just have to work through that. If something genuinely matters to you, it shouldn't matter if you're waiting a week to buy it. So maybe give yourself a bit of a cool off period. Maybe if you see something that you really want or need, wait a week, wait a month, wait a little while. If it's something urgent and you absolutely need it and your life is harder without it, then obviously that is fine. But if it's something that you don't feel 1,000% good about and you're not 100,000,000% sure that you need, then it's better to just give it some time. If you wait until it's right and it feels good, then it's a lot more worth it. It feels more satisfying. It's a slow release of dopamine, which is not as rewarding in the moment, but over time, it is so much better for you. And you just kind of have to live through the discomfort while you're reprogramming your brain to receive the slow dopamine instead of the fast dopamine. Another question to ask yourself, if you are really truly committing to a no buy or a low buy year, do you have a support system? Do you have a buy nothing group in your neighborhood? Do you have friends? Do you have family that know what you're going through, that are trying to support you? A place where you can borrow or rent things or get them for free or reduce cost? I can almost guarantee you that the things that you really, really, truly need are things that you can find from your circle of support. And they can be attained without necessitating a trip to the store. Just remember that the thing that you want, the thing that you need, there will always be that thing. There are so many things that have been created in this world that if you are looking for something, even if it's 5 years down the line, you will be able to find a version of what you're looking for. Even if you have like sensory difficulty with certain pieces of clothing or whatever, I promise you that you will be able to find something that fits all of your needs. So if you see something that looks perfect and amazing and like never in my life have I ever seen something like this before, I promise you it will pop back up again when you are prepared to buy that thing, not during your no buy or low buy year. And don't get fooled by the limited edition stuff. I feel like I come up against a bit of a wall when I talk to people about like merch and things like that, because yes, I understand sometimes it is limited edition and it's like resold for 5 million times the price once it goes off sale. Is your life really going to be so much better because you bought that piece of merch? I'm not trying to yuck your yum. I promise I am not trying to yuck your yum, but just think about your why. Is buying this $50 piece of merch worth it in the long run? I'm not telling you to stop doing things that make you happy, but is that really going to make you happy? Is that going to change your life? Is it going to do so much for you? Is that $50 better spent on a piece of merch or going towards your future or whatever? I don't know. I can't tell you the answer to that, and I'm not trying to judge you. I'm genuinely just asking the questions that you need to ask yourself and decide what matters more. It's not my place to say, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. For me, it's not worth it. Don't think I've bought a piece of merch or any kind of like celebrity worshiping thing in many, many, many years. And that's fine. I cherish the pieces that I have, don't get me wrong, but that's just my personal values and thoughts. Doesn't mean that they're yours. I just want you to remember your why and the reasons why you're doing things. And if you are just buying things because of scarcity mindset or because you genuinely find a lot of comfort and joy from these items, I don't know. But I would put a limit on it personally. That would be my suggestion. Again, these are for your brains to decide and figure out. Just don't forget that the rush of the purchase is fast dopamine and we are aiming towards slow dopamine. When you give into the rush of the purchase, you are giving into more credit card debt, you are giving into instant dopamine hit, you are giving into less money to spend on necessities. I don't know. It's just, you really need to ask yourself every time you want to buy something, do I really need this item? Is my life going to be harder without this item? If the answer is yes, then obviously buy it. But if it's just going to give you joy, we really have to think about the things that will actually raise our quality of life versus just bring us some joy. And I'm not saying that we need to spend this entire year being completely devoid of joy. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot because there's only so many things that I can say to help you out. I feel like it's really hard for me to articulate my thoughts and like give concrete advice because everyone is so different. So I guess I'm just here asking you the questions that I feel like you need to think about. And I hope that that's helpful. I feel really overwhelmed with the amount of people that are doing this challenge with me and the amount of variety in terms of like why people are participating. There are a million different reasons why all of us are here and doing this. I feel like a lot of the reasoning is because we're all feeling very stressed right now, especially with just a general global cost of living crisis, many awful world events happening and unfolding before our very eyes at the moment. And you know, it's a stressful time to be alive, and seeing all of that constantly on the news right in front of our eyes is really stressful. I'm just trying to help us simplify our lives wherever we can, and we need to remind ourselves that no amount of buying things is going to make us feel better and calm down. We hold the key to that. We are not going to find anything outside of ourselves. Not validation, not comfort, not anything. Obviously, it's important to have a roof over your head and food in your stomach and positive mental stimulation. I really hope that I'm making sense, because I feel like I'm not making that much sense right now. I just want us all to remember our priorities and remember that the people that are trying to sell us these things do not have our best interests at heart. They don't have the environment's best interests at heart. They don't have our wallet's best interest at heart. All they care about are the fake numbers that go up and down on the squiggly line that is run by fucking Wall Street. And yes, this has kind of just turned into an anti-consumerist rant, but guess what? This entire channel and my whole life is that, so I don't care. Remember that you need to take the power back from them, the marketers, the psychologists that use their evil mind tricks to get you to buy things that you don't need to feel better about yourself when you hold the power to do that. There are so many more aspects of minimalism, anti-consumerism, all of this stuff that go hand in hand, and I will make more videos on that soon. Hopefully, I have so many videos like in the pipeline for you guys that I just need to like get the time and energy to make. But at the end of the day, we just have to remember that the reason why we want to buy things is because there is something missing. There is a lack. There is a desire for something. And the missing piece that we've been fed is that we can just buy something and that will be the missing piece. That is not the missing piece. You are the missing piece. You have the missing piece. You can get what you need without spending your hard-earned money on it. You just need food, you need shelter, and you need comfort, safety. Those things, you can make it happen. Buying other things, not necessarily. So find the things that truly, truly, truly matter to you and remember your why. You're doing this for yourself. You're doing this for your future. You're doing this for your financial security. Just because you didn't buy that embroidered thing, or you didn't buy that dress or that jacket or that furniture item or that limited edition whatever, I promise you will be okay. Even if your brain for a second really tells you that it's not going to be okay, you just need to take a step back and remind yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen if I don't buy this? Chances are the stakes are so low and your brain is just telling you that they're really high. I promise that we can keep doing this, okay? The no buy and low buy is so important, and I feel like we're all doing a really wonderful things for ourselves by participating in this, and I truly believe that we can do it. We're 2 months in, we're doing a great job, and we can keep going, okay? So until the next one, I am sending you all my love, because we are all just trying our best out here, okay? Bye.